Tom Brokaw, now 86 years old, the voice that had defined American network news for decades and anchored audiences through wars, elections, crises, and the collective heartbreak of 9/11, finally spoke. But it was not on television, not in an op-ed, and not for the public record. He chose a quiet, deliberate setting in his New York home, speaking to a small circle of 8 former colleagues and longtime friends. There were no cameras, no microphones, no press, just chairs arranged in a circle, the scent of coffee filling the room, and an atmosphere of quiet awe. Brokaw was steady and precise, ready to share a story he had carried for decades. One of the 8 attendees reached out at 7:14 p.m. Eastern to ask if I wanted to hear what had been said. I did, and what follows is neither rumor nor speculation. It is the account Tom Brokaw shared in that living room, a candid, deeply human insight into Savannah Guthrie, her mother Nancy, and the invisible forces that have shaped how Savannah navigates crisis. Tom began, without preamble, stating that he had known Savannah since she was the new kid on the 4th floor at 30 Rock. He estimated she was 30, maybe 31 at the time. He described her as hungry, polished, and polite to a fault, yet carrying something more profound. It was a quality he immediately recognized, having seen it before in others raised under a very particular kind of parent. Savannah, he explained, carried her mother with her like a second heartbeat, not a sentimental attachment or a Sunday phone call kind of love, but a form of absolute control. Nancy Guthrie had never relinquished it, even when absent, and Savannah carried that constant pulse wherever she went. Brokaw emphasized that this lens is essential to understanding every decision Savannah has made, every display of poise and restraint visible on screen. Her mother did not raise her children with softness. Instead, she taught resilience and unbreakable strength, instilling the belief that the world punishes weakness and rewards discipline. Brokaw then recounted a memory no one present had heard before. When Savannah was offered the co-anchor chair on the Today Show, the pinnacle promotion of her career, she did not call her agent or her husband first. She called her mother. "Mom, they want me to co-anchor the Today Show," she said. Nancy's response was firm. "Fine, but don't let it go to your head. Don't let them see you sweat. You're there to work, not to be liked." Brokaw explained that Savannah told this story with pride, not resentment, reflecting the economy she had lived in since childhood. Approval came through performance, not sentiment. Love was demonstrated by action, not need. That code continues to guide Savannah as she navigates one of the most harrowing moments of her life. Brokaw urged the attendees to observe how Savannah speaks to the camera. Every word, every pause, every gesture. She thanks the public first, acknowledges her mother, references the ransom reports, and only then makes a plea. That is not instinct but choreography, instilled by her upbringing in New York, and now executed under unimaginable pressure. One attendee asked cautiously if Nancy would disapprove if Savannah fell apart on camera. Brokaw's answer was immediate. She would be appalled, not out of a lack of love, but because she spent decades teaching the opposite. In Nancy's view, allowing emotion to dominate meant losing. She had never lost, not when her husband died, not when life knocked her down, and not when raising 3 children alone. Savannah had absorbed this code completely, crying privately only rarely, and when she did, she stopped herself within seconds, wiped her eyes, smiled, and moved on. Brokaw shared that he had seen her cry exactly twice, once for her father-in-law and once for her daughters facing hardship, both times instantly contained. That, he said, is not merely strength, it is conditioning. Right now, that conditioning is what keeps her upright, yet it is also what could eventually break her. Brokaw then analyzed the recent videos Savannah released during the crisis, including the February 7th plea, "We will pay." He described her delivery as precise, devoid of tremor or pleading, projecting clarity, resolve, and dignity. Even in the absence of command or in moments of danger, she followed orders internally. Another attendee asked if she could sustain this for another week or month. Brokaw shook his head. She was already running on fumes. Her eyes showed the dimming of light, yet she would not let it extinguish. Letting it go out meant admitting she could not fix the situation, and admitting that meant failing her mother, a verdict she had spent a lifetime avoiding. He shared a memory from a decade ago. During a personal struggle, Savannah called her mother. Nancy's response was pragmatic. "You've handled worse. Handle this." Savannah went on air to interview a grieving parent as if nothing had happened. That resilience, Brokaw noted, is who Savannah is and who Nancy made her to be. At this moment, she is negotiating with a kidnapper, managing national attention, comforting her children, and maintaining composure, all while believing that faltering would cost her the only love she has ever known. Brokaw then outlined the specific timeline of the crisis from Savannah's perspective. February 1st, the house is found empty. February 2nd, search intensifies, FBI joins, national attention spikes. Yet Savannah remains silent. February 3rd, ransom notes appear on TMZ and local stations. Bitcoin demands circulate. Still no public response from Savannah or her siblings. February 4th, late evening. The first video drops, timed perfectly. Brokaw emphasized the deliberate choreography, acknowledging the public, framing her mother as strong and faithful, addressing the captor with dignity, and making a clear plea. He returned to the February 7th video, noting how Savannah delivers. "We will pay like a soldier reporting to command." Calm, deliberate, and in control. Brokaw stressed that she is terrified of falling short, believing, in part, that her mother is silently grading her performance like a teacher evaluating a final exam. He recalled another story from 15 years ago. Early in her career, Savannah faced a public misstep when a story she covered did not hold up. For 2 weeks, she defended, explained, and apologized flawlessly on air, allowing herself a few tears only in private, and then called her mother. Nancy's response: "You made a mistake. You fix mistakes. You don't wallow." Savannah was reporting progress, showing adherence to the code she had learned. That is the same woman standing in front of cameras today, offering millions to save her mother. When asked what would happen if Nancy does not come home, Brokaw said Savannah would not collapse on camera. She would not scream or break down. She would thank those who helped, speak at a memorial with perfect clarity, hug her children, and return to work, all while carrying the internal verdict of her perceived failure, a weight heavier than any grief the rest of us can imagine. Yet if Nancy returns, Brokaw whispered, someone must finally tell Savannah what her mother never could. She does not have to earn this love. She was enough the day she was born and is enough now. She can rest. Brokaw requested that the attendees keep these insights private, allowing the investigation and search to continue uninterrupted. He emphasized that when this crisis concludes, the deeper story, the human cost to a daughter who spent 46 years striving to be unbreakable for the woman who taught her that breaking was never allowed, needs to be told. The cost of learning that strength is the price of love must be acknowledged. He concluded with one final thought. When Nancy walks through the door, Savannah should finally hear the words she has waited a lifetime to hear. You did enough. You always did enough. You can rest now. The desert outside Tucson was cold that night. The deadline had passed, and silence remained. But within that silence, a daughter still listened for her mother's voice, the voice that had guided, judged, loved, and demanded everything since childhood. Tom Brokaw, at 86, spoke aloud what he had observed for decades. Savannah Guthrie is not merely trying to bring her mother home. She is striving to preserve the only version of love she has ever known, one that equates strength with belonging. That lesson, ironclad and unbreakable, serves as both the anchor keeping her afloat and the chain that may never allow her to breathe freely. If Nancy returns, it will be time to grant Savannah what she has spent a lifetime chasing: permission to lay down her armor, to cease performing, and simply to be human, to be her mother's daughter, not her mother's masterpiece. As Brokaw reminded us, she has always been enough. In the end, Savannah Guthrie's story is not just one of public courage under unimaginable pressure. It is the private testament of a lifetime shaped by love that demanded strength. Every poised word, every controlled gesture, every silent tear is a reflection of the lessons her mother instilled. That resilience is a form of devotion, and discipline is the currency of care. But beyond the headlines, beyond the videos and pleas, lies the quiet truth of her humanity. When the crisis finally resolves, the world will see her as composed, capable, unshakable. But in that moment of return, when she is finally free to let go, Savannah will be allowed to feel, to rest, and to simply be the daughter who has carried a lifetime of love and responsibility with unwavering grace. It is in that release, finally, that the full measure of her courage and heart will be understood.